On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, I apologize in advance, it's windy. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today it's insanely windy. It's like 20 mile an hour sustained and gusts to 30. It's crazy. So sorry about the wind noise, but we are back with Dad's 1929 McCormick-Deering 1020.
Yep.
And in the last video, you guys know we were dragging this thing around, trying to make it free up.
All clutch, no brakes.
All clutch, no brake. And it freed up.
Well, okay, so I'll show you what I did. Before we went and pulled it around through the yard, trying to get it to come loose, we filled the cylinders full of diesel fuel.
Yep.
I looked in the cylinders after we poured the diesel fuel in.
It was all gone.
Diesel fuel was all gone.
Yep.
And cylinders looked clean. Looked like nice shiny cylinders. I couldn't figure out how it could be stuck looking that good, but obviously it was pretty stuck. So we pulled it up here and parked it, as we saw in the last video. Here's where you marked it the other day.
Yep.
You put the two marks to show if it moved.
Exactly.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure there was nothing in here that could be holding it up. So I crawled in there, and that's the, I didn't crawl in, but I reached up through the hole down here.
It was all plugged up.
It was plugged up. Obviously the mice had been in there. So that's somebody's carpet or their seat.
Okay.
There was a cover over here, so this made a beautiful, nice little warm place for the mice to spend their winters in. So anyways, I got all that cleaned out. And then while it was sitting here, we filled it full of used Mobil 1.
Sure.
I said, put a paint cap full in each cylinder. That way it wouldn't be too much, because I didn't want to break a rod or something when we tried to start it.
Yeah.
I said, just pour that in there and let it set. So it set for several weeks. And then every time I'd come out, I'd just lift this bar stuck right down in here, in that hole right there. And every couple of days, I'd come by and sit right underneath this bolt right here, and I'd just give it a pop. And I just kept popping.
Yep.
And last Sunday I came out here and I just stood here going like that, popping. And I was popping it pretty hard. Not hard enough to break anything, but as you can see,
it moves.
it turned.
Yep.
So I had to use the bar and bar it over. And I was able to bar it all the way through. And then I had to back it up because it came to a tight spot. So I barred it back and forth several times, just rolling it with the bar. And then once I got it barred loose, I was able to turn it.
Hey!
So it goes all the way around. So once I got that done, I thought, well, okay, let's see if we got spark. So took this apart, pulled the cover off the back of the ignition, which you take off right here like this.
Yep.
Get to the points.
Cleaned up the points.
It's got an aluminum point breaker in there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks brand new.
Look new. I cleaned the points. With a I'm just looking here. I don't think that's in the right spot. This is actually the points advance and retard.
Oh yeah, and it moves the cover back and forth.
Right there. That's advance and retard.
It's missing this rod from
Yeah,
here to there, and that's what moves that cover.
That's right. So that's moved here. The next thing I had to do was, I don't know if you watch this mechanism right here.
Sure.
This you have to flip forward and drop down before you start. So every time before you start it, you got to pull this forward. Now why? Well, you see that spring's pretty weak.
Yeah.
So if you watch, you'll see that as it rotates, see this is sitting still. Sure. This is actually the armature in the magneto. This is your drive, of course. As it pulls across, you see that?
I see. Yeah.
So this little notch fits into that notch right there.
Yeah.
See it's holding it?
Yeah.
It holds it until this cam gets up, and you can watch it. It pushes it. See it pushed it out of the way.
Sure.
Now it's supposed to snap. Okay, obviously it didn't snap.
So it creates the impulse like that?
See it snapping?
Yeah.
It don't snap every time. So now I stood here at the can of WD-40 and some penetrating oil and lubed this up pretty good. I poured some lube in this, I poured some oil in here. This wouldn't open. Okay. That's the front bearing.
Yep.
So I poured a bunch of oil in that.
Little
see that hole
oiler
right there?
Yeah, sure. It's got a flip-up cover for the oiler.
Yeah, then I poured some oil in here. This is supposed to be a flip-up cover. That's,
broken
you can see
off.
it's got some waste in there to absorb oil. Yeah. So I poured some oil in there, and then, wouldn't you know it, started turning it over, and I started sparking. So it's got spark. So right now what I want to do is I want to pull this cover off, and there's a bunch of dirt under there. I want to vacuum that dirt out. I got a new valve cover coming, valve cover gasket coming. We're going to pull that off, vacuum it out. put the cover back on. Let's put some gas in it and see if this thing will start.
All right, let's do it. With the valve cover all the way off, you guys can see the debris we want to get out of, you know, the top of the head here, and also what's left of the old cork gasket hanging out back there. So there's a new gasket on the way. Dad ordered that a couple days ago, and it should be here shortly, but we should sure be able to start this thing without a valve cover gasket, so we're gonna try. We used the Milwaukee vacuum, vacuumed out the top of the head there, and
there was a bunch of dirt back here, that years and years of dirt collected back in here, so when I pulled it up, it got it all dirty. So we got that cleaned out.
Yep, makes it way better.
Now these are tubes where you pour gasoline right into the intake manifold to help you with starting it. So it comes with these little openers. And look at there's some trash in there. Let me clean that out. So obviously that.
Yeah, I was like, that's not gonna come out.
I don't know if there's any. You know, I might need to take that apart and clean it. But I did pour gasoline in it and it disappeared. Huh. So it's running through that little valve, whatever it is. But these screw on here. So we got two.
Also hold the valve cover.
They hold their they at least they seal to the top of the valve cover.
Yep.
And then you got these two nuts right here, which are the main nuts. I'm just going to screw them on here for the time being.
Yeah.
But you can see this thing does not have any forced lubrication to the rockers. So these rockers just have to be lubed. You as the user of this tractor have to come in here and pour oil in this. And there's these little flip ups right
so
here.
You just pour oil right on.
Every so many hours, looks like that needs a little lube. So every so many hours, you have to pour some motor oil in there, and you're supposed to pour enough motor oil in to soak these up, right? This is what we used to call waste, or they call it waste in the tractor in the train business. I'm just going to put just a little bit of lubricant. I know this ain't motor oil, but I don't care. I'm just trying to lube it up. So we'll lube these all up because it's all been dry for years. There's no, these are dry.
Oh yeah.
So we'll put just a little oil in everybody to get some dripping out of here. This should be just soaking wet.
Yep.
But this penetrating oil will give it a good lube. Then after it starts, the fan belt was bad, so I took it off because it was, well, there's the fan belt. It was coming out in little pieces while I was turning it, so I got rid of it.
Yep.
So we'll put a little lube over here. It's kind of gross. This is your advance. Now that was stuck a minute ago.
Now it's kind of working.
So I can't believe this little tractor's coming loose. So I just started tapping right here, just giving it a little ball peen massage, and just tapping it all up. And as I started doing that, I just kept putting pressure on it while I was tapping. Now look at there, it's starting to move. It'll come loose. We just keep working them. It's a lot of years of rust in there. But the main thing I needed to get that loose for was I couldn't control the throttle. I needed these two to come together, which they're now coming together. Okay. Now, normally it says in the book. I was reading the book. It says that's idle.
Come back here.
That's high. Yeah. We should be able to hook that up.
Yeah, I was gonna put it back in so you pin it. Right. Just leave it loose there, and I've basically got it. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's hooked up.
So that should be
throttle.
That should be idle, right? And that's supposed to be wide open. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of throttle. We're going to turn it this way to retard it so it don't break your arm.
Right.
But I'm going to give it just a little bit. I'd rather it kick so I know if it's doing something. And now we'll take let's pour some gasoline in these
in the little funnels.
In the funnels, and let's see if it'll do anything.
How on earth are you supposed to get in those without pulling the whole hood?
Well, yeah, well, actually, if you open the other side of the hood, there's a hole here and a hole here, so you can pour. So let's go ahead and do that. So you probably had to have a little funnel or something to put in there.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna pour just a wee bit of fuel in it. Okay, get plenty of gasoline on me.
Yeah, there's not a good way to get that in there, is there?
Well, yeah, I'm sure there was probably a special IHC funnel. Now, the cast comes into here. None of this probably works. So I'm going to unscrew this thing.
And just pour some gas right on top of it.
I tapped on that thing and got it unscrewed, so I sprayed it with a little lube to see. So this is the float bowl. I don't know, I haven't had it apart, so it's supposed to have a cork float in it. And I suppose the needle and seat looks like a lever right there.
Yeah.
So that probably it probably pushes down to let fuel in. But anyways, I haven't had that apart. We're gonna have to obviously
clean it.
That's gonna take some kind of a. Let's just put a little bit of fuel in it. Okay. And you'll probably want to leave that out. If it fires fine, I mean that I think, I'm not sure, but since how that's notched, I believe that's probably the high-speed jet.
Oh,
so you open that up to control how much fuel it pulls out of the bowl into the main.
Yeah.
And then, oh, looky there, is that broken?
That's not cracked.
Is that cracked or solid?
It's cut, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's the idle speed.
Yeah, it's got a nice cut.
I bet that's the idle speed adjustment that goes in and stops the butterflies so she don't die.
Okay.
And then there's the choke. So let's go ahead and give it some choke. Let's see what it does. Okay.
It fired.
He didn't fire anymore. It's probably going to be pretty thirsty. Nothing. No go. Might have flooded it. Who knows? It's hard work on a fat man.
Oh, the handle spinner there is locked up tight.
Somebody's had a pipe wrench on it or big pair of pliers there. This is the way you get it loose. Just keep massaging it. See the rust coming out?
Yep.
I know you're not supposed to start pushing down.
Yeah.
But if it comes back, it'll break your arm. Nope.
Hey! You should have seen the chunk it was shooting out the exhaust.
Huh.
Big old chunks of dirt and rust. There's some of them.
Yeah. Pour a little more gas in it. You'll have to nurse it. That's got one of them terrible safety.
I figured there'd be a little left.
Yeah, there's some.
There's some fuel for it.
Ready?
Yep. Did it check the impulse?
Well, that's supposed to stay over there, but this spring is so weak.
Yeah.
So, let's see, it's turning that way. I'm going to advance it just a little more. Try to give it a little more kick. Pour a little more fuel in.
Hey. Look at it go! Look at all the trash. Oh, mud dauber nests and
Wow.
oh man.
First run in
Who knows?
who knows how many years that's been.
50 years.
It's been sitting in a hedgerow for years and years.
So the gas cap's stuck too. We're gonna give that a massage next and try to put some gas in the gas tank.
The secret is to beat it up without beating it up.
Right, you can't
Look at that.
Yep. Came right loose.
How can that be?
It's probably water. How's it smell?
It smells like dead gas.
We need a dipstick.
It smells of dead gas. This can't work. I mean, this thing's been sitting for
too long.
years.
Too long.
The fact that it fired just blows my mind. I mean, from being stuck in a hedgerow to...
Sorry if these camera angles are weird today. I'm trying to get cover the microphone with my body. We're doing whatever we can to try to make sure you guys have good audio. I know it's tough with 30-mile-an-hour winds. There's not a lot you can do. So now we're gonna try to get the fuel open now that there's a little fresh gas in the tank. And we will see. I bet that sediment bowl's full too though. Oh,
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the
whole valve out.
valve out and see if I can get some fuel moving without taking, because I'm sure if I take the sediment bowl off, the gasket won't make it.
Yeah.
I turned. Look at that.
It's coming.
No way, this can't work. That's tight. Kick the carburetor apart. Let's see what we see. Maybe I'll pour fuel directly into the float bowl. Take this off.
Solve the problem.
Oop, I won't lose any parts. There's the screen. The inlet screen.
Oh yeah. Huh. That's pretty cool. It's sure covered in rust.
Boy, it's coming apart nice.
Yeah. Well, this thing's cleaning up too with all the gas.
Oh, look, fuel.
Hey, that is nasty.
That is nasty.
That is transmission.
Look at that. Needle and seat. Oh, it's full of gas.
That's transmission fluid flavored gasoline.
It stinks.
Yeah, it smells terrible. This smells like the Jag.
Let's put this, yeah.
My whole house and garage smelled like this for a week.
This is probably Jaguar fuel.
That's what it is. I could have brought you some if you wanted it. Had 20 gallons.
I can't believe it's coming through it. Look at that.
Well,
we might get some fresh gas here in a minute.
We need a little more flow rate.
You think? A little higher?
A little higher.
Maybe if we blow on the tank.
You know, when my lawnmower, I've got that 110.
Yeah.
And when it fuel starves, I just pull the cap off and blow in the tank, and it starts right back up.
Where'd you learn that?
It died on a hill. It kept dying on hills.
I thought you was gonna say that you learned that when I had you blow on the tank for me.
I don't remember.
Good.
But it has a rubber tank, so it expands and blows it all back in your face, which is annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying. Okay, so let's put this back together. This was full of fuel.
Yeah.
So we need to pull it through and see if he comes back to life. You can buy the carb kit for this thing. I found it the other day.
Huh.
For $19.29. Oh, we got lots of fuel coming out over here.
Oh, good. Yeah, look at that.
Need a can to nurse it in there. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
You can do it.
How fast do you have to go?
You gotta spin it. You need to put rocks in your pocket. You know, I told your brother that when he was a little kid, and one time he came inside and his pockets were full of rocks. I asked him, I said, why'd you put rocks in your pocket? He said, well, you told me to. Oh, let me pull it. I'm an old hand at pulling these things. You just have to nurse the fuel in.
I'll start.
You may have to run the, you may have to play around with the choke. To keep it running. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You had it ready. Hold it. Hold it, it fired.
Oh. Sorry, too much gas.
Ready?
Yep.
Choke on or off?
I didn't move it.
Yeah, there it's on.
On?
Pull it on.
Pull is on?
Push it. Pull it out, it's on. Push it in, it's off.
Okay.
Was it out?
It was all the way out.
Might be flooded. Pull it.
Okay, there's half.
Push it in.
Half.
Oh. Wow. That sounds fantastic.
I don't know what that was.
Well, I think that's enough.
Ooh, this thing's a 800-degree mud dauber nest right here. Full carbon.
I think that's enough. Let's close it up and work on something else. We proved our point. She sounds good.
Yeah.
This is going to make a good tractor.
Sure is.
I can't parade with it unless we take the steel off. But you got to take the lugs off and pull the bands. But hey, just for driving around out here and having fun,
it'll work.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It lives.
There you go. It runs. A bunch of beating on it and a bunch of knocking junk out of the bottom of the clutch, out of the frame basically. And it's back on the road. So we're probably going to pull the carb, clean all that up, get some fuel in it, and then drive it back to the shop when we're done with the decoration time. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjaguar.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I'll talk to you next time. Now it's a running decoration at least.
Yeah, your mom bought it just to put pumpkins beside it out here in the front yard. But hey, if we can make the pumpkin display run, why not?
Yep.
I mean, I didn't dream it would run, especially starting up that easy.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was clean the points and get that stuff loose and
get some fuel in it.
Main thing was it was stuck, and it was stuck hard. I can't believe it. I just kept stood there one day on Sunday. Yeah. I just kept bouncing on that because I didn't want to shear the bolt off.
Right.
And of course you don't want to break the side of the cast iron out.
Yep.
So you just got to stand there and keep bouncing and be patient. And then I'd come back over here once in a while and I'd kick the crank just to see if it'd do anything, which it didn't. I just stood there and kept bouncing on it for about 10 minutes, and all of a sudden it went boink. and I saw the lines misaligned. I thought, oh, we just won the battle. So then I kicked it back, pushed it through, kicked it back,
and we know the clutch works, so that's a bonus.
Yeah. She'll start up and go. Won't be long. Now this is all working.
Yeah.
That looks good. We just need to get that rod made. So all that's good. We need to change all these grease zerks.
That's how you haul gas?
Yeah. Plus other things.